It was a Sunday morning, the kind that wraps a neighborhood in a soft, golden haze. Sprinklers hummed, the air carried the sweet scent of pancakes, and dogs barked lazily in the distance. In our little corner of the world, my sister Laura was kneeling by the mailbox, her hands buried in a bag of soil, planting purple and orange zinnias. She was humming, off-key but happy. Inside, her son, Ethan, an 11-year-old with a sharp mind in a wheelchair, was rolling toward the front door, drawn by the smell of waffles. My brother-in-law, gone 3 years now, had left behind a waffle recipe Laura still made every Sunday, like a promise kept. Ethan, paralyzed since a car crash that left our family whispering about it in hushed tones, moved through life with a quiet strength, his eyes always watching, always thinking. Then came the rumble. Low, steady, wrong. Laura glanced up, dirt smudging her knuckles. A black SUV, gleaming like it belonged in a spy MOVYE, crept into the driveway. No license plate, no neighborhood stickers, just dark, tinted windows that swallowed the sunlight. 2 men stepped out, wearing matching navy polos with patches that read, HOA Compliance Enforcement. The patches looked cheap, one fraying at the edges, but the men carried themselves like they owned the place. Clean-shaven, buzz cuts, mirrored sunglasses reflecting Laura's startled face. They didn't smile, didn't wave, just marched up the driveway like they were VYing a warrant. Ethan froze halfway out the door, his wheelchair caught at the edge of the ramp, a waffle balanced on his lap. The taller man spoke first, his voice flat, like he was reading from script. Is the boy registered with the HOA? Laura blinked. What? The shorter one flipped open a binder, pointing at a printed form. We've had a complaint. Unregistered dependent using modified mobility equipment on shared space. Ethan tilted his head, confused. What complaint? The tall one didn't miss a beat. An unlicensed Indy VY Dual is operating a motorized unit on sidewalks funded by the HOA. We're here to inspect the unit and the occupant. Laura stepped forward, her voice sharp. You mean my son? You're saying my disabled son can't use the sidewalk in front of our house. The tall one adjusted his shades. Not until a VY Sewell inspection confirms he isn't concealing restricted materials. Laura's jaw tightened. What kind of the shorter man cut her off, crouching to Ethan's level, his tone patronizing, like he was talking to a toddler. Ethan, please drop your pants. The words hung in the air. Absurd, obscene. Laura froze, her mind scrambling to process the impossibility of it. Ethan's face changed, his eyes flicking to his mom with a look she hadn't seen since the hospital days, a flicker of fear, of wondering if he was safe. Laura moved fast, stepping in front of him, nearly toppling a flower pot. You're not touching him, she said, her voice shaking but her arm steady, outstretched like a shield. The tall one didn't flinch. Ma'am, refusal to comply may be logged as obstruction under HOA Regulation 3.7. Regulation what? Laura snapped. We've lived here 8 years. I know every bylaw. Who sent you? The shorter man shrugged. We're authorized by the board. Laura's eyes narrowed. There is no board. The HOA is 6 retirees arguing over trash cans. But the men didn't budge. The tall one pulled a pen light from his pocket, and for a split second, Laura thought it was a weapon. He clicked it on, shining it into Ethan's face. Pupil response, he said, like he was inspecting a car engine. Ethan flinched, his waffle tumbling to the grass. Laura grabbed the wheelchair's handle, pulling him back. I'm calling the police. The tall one's voice stayed calm. You'll be cited for obstruction. Ethan's whisper was barely audible. Do I have to, Mom? Laura's heart shattered. No, baby. No, you don't. She knelt beside him, her body a barrier. Across the street, a neighbor's screen door creaked. Someone was watching, but no one moved. The men stood there, strangers with no badges, no right, acting like they owned the moment. The air shifted, heavy with a quiet fury. Laura's hands were already MOVYing. Tucked under her hoodie string was a tiny body camera, a habit born from years of hospital bills, insurance fights, and courtroom battles. She clicked it 3 times, sending the feed to the cloud and our family chat. She didn't know I was 3 blocks away, watching it live, my stomach twisting as she whispered to Ethan, "You don't have to, baby." The men circled, not advancing, but pacing, like predators testing a fence. Ethan gripped his armrests, bracing himself. The waffle lay in the grass, the birds still chirped, but something was about to snap. I hit the corner to sprint, phone camera rolling, voice already raised. "This is assault on a disabled minor." I shouted, loud enough for the neighbors to hear. Every second of this is live-streamed. The shorter man froze, hands half raised, like he'd just remembered he was human. I didn't let him speak. "You're impersonating legal authority. No badge, no ID, and you just laid hands on a disabled child." The tall one's head tilted, his shades catching the glint of Laura's camera lens. That's when they hesitated, like dogs realizing the gate was open. Laura stood firm, trembling but unyielding, her grip on Ethan's chair like iron. Neighbors started peeking out misses. Carter's blinds twitched. The Wilsons stepped onto their porch, phones in hand. We weren't alone anymore. I lowered my voice, staring at the short one. "You have 10 seconds to walk away, or I press send." He tried to play tough. "What's send?" I smirked. Send is every news station, every disability rights group, every blog that'll tear you apart. His jaw clenched. "We're following HOA protocol." I stepped closer. "Name the HOA president. Name one bylaw that lets you inspect a child's body." "I'll wait." He didn't answer. The tall one grabbed the binder and turned to leave. No apology, just silence. Their SUV peeled out, but Laura snapped a photo of the missing plates. Ethan wasn't crying anymore, just staring, his voice small. "Why do they want to look at me?" Laura knelt beside him. "Because they're wrong, honey. That's all." I looked at her. "I'm posting this." She nodded. "I already did." The raw footage hit the internet like a spark in dry grass. Laura's 3-minute clip exploded 200 VYUs in minutes, then 2,000, then VY on every platform. My VY Deo, synced with timestamps and text calling it abuse, hit 80,000 shares by morning. Neighbors, strangers, even a vet in Missouri who'd seen the same SUV, started piecing it together. The HOA president, a 71-year-old named Helen Price, issued a statement. "These men aren't ours. We have no enforcement DVY shown." By night, the local news ran it. Ethan's trembling to, "I have to, Mom," cutting through Lee VYing rooms like a knife. Then came Ethan's sketch. He didn't talk much after that day. His voice caught when emotions ran high, a scar from hospital days and courtrooms. But he spoke through his art. In front of news cameras, flanked by Laura zinnias, he held up a drawing, 2 shadowy men looming over a stick-figure boy in a wheelchair, captioned, "I'm not a criminal. I just want to go outside." The room went silent. That sketch, aired on the evening news, broke people. Comments flooded enrage, heartbreak, demands to know who these men were. A retired detective in Florida recognized the tall one, Mason Holt, a disgraced ex-trainee who'd faked being an IC officer. His partner, Travis Klein, was no better. They were grifters, preying on the vulnerable disabled kids, single moms, the elderly forcing fake fines, or demolishing ramps with made-up rules. The police tracked their SUV to a motel off Route 19. At 2:14 a.m., cameras caught their arrest Holt hiding his face, Klein yelling about a setup. Ethan watched the clip with a bowl of cereal, raising a tiny fist when Holt was cuffed. It wasn't joy. It was justice. The next morning, Ethan wheeled to the garage, returning with a bin of chalk. He rolled to the same sidewalk where it all happened, his hand steady as he drew a wheelchair with monster truck wheels and a red cape. The words "Don't touch us" in bold purple. Neighbors stopped. Mrs. Carter drew a flower. A veteran sketched an eagle. Soon, the sidewalk was a mural of hearts, shields, and rainbows, a quiet jazz tune playing from a teenager's boombox. Laura whispered, "He started this." A photo of Ethan and the mural went VY 1 million likes, T-shirts printed, a GoFundMe hitting Dulac 300,000 for disability advocacy. Ethan didn't care about the fame. He squinted at me through the sunlight and asked, "Will they do it to someone else?" I knelt, brushing chalk dust from his wheels. "No, because you show the world what they did." You didn't let them make you small. That night, we lit candles on the porch. Ethan's sketchbook open to the caped wheelchair. A stranger left daisies with a note, from one mom to another. A VY Deo came Ina girl in Wisconsin, in a wheelchair, drawing her own cape. Ethan watched it 3 times, then smiled as first in days. Across the country, people saw his chalk art and whispered, "Not in my neighborhood. Not again." And for a kid like Ethan, who the world often overlooked, that moment wasn't just a voice. It was a roar.